centered sustainable development. Today, I present the year 2026 budget of sustainable legacy, a forward-looking financial plan designed to consolidate our recent economic gains and accelerate our journey towards sustainable growth and shared prosperity. It strengthens macroeconomic stability, expands capital investments, and prioritizes sectors that directly enhance the well-being of our people. Above all, this budget reaffirms our commitment to the building our future together mantra, anchored on the Ishaya development agenda, infrastructure, social welfare and well-being, education and human capital development, youth empowerment, agriculture and food security. This budget is more than a financial document. It is a bold statement of purpose and a strategic roadmap to a prosperous, inclusive, and economically resilient Ogun State. Each pillar of the shared agenda continues to drive our progress and shape the transformation we all envision. Over the past 6 years, we have grown our state economy to an estimated gross domestic product of about 17 trillion naira. When we assumed office on the 29th of May 2019, our economy oscillated between, our GDP oscillated between 3.5 and 3.9 trillion. So you can appreciate this acceleration of growth from 3.5, 3.9 trillion to 17 trillion in the last 6 years. Our internally generated revenue has also considerably grown from about 50 billion naira in 2020 to about 250 billion naira projected for the full year of year 2025. That is more than a quadruple of growth. Infrastructure remains a key driver of our development agenda. Over the past 6 years, administration has taken proactive and audacious steps to position Ogun State as Nigeria's foremost hub for logistics, for trade, and for industry. And we have indeed achieved that. I'm delighted to inform this Honorable House that the Gateway International Airport, our visionary project, is now fully certified with first of its kind aerodrome permit in Nigeria, and it has commenced commercial flight operations between Ogun State and Abuja. This milestone opens a new chapter in the state's economic transformation. The airport is fast becoming a magnet for international investment, a catalyst for export-driven agriculture, and a source of high-quality jobs across the aviation value chain. We have not merely built an airport, we have created an aerotropolis. This integrated ecosystem strengthens the synergy between aviation, agriculture, industries, logistics, tourism, and of course, housing. This project has attracted wide national and international acceptance and attention within and outside Nigeria, underscoring its importance as a transformational legacy. In addition, the ongoing construction of the Kajola and Ijebu-Ode inland dry ports will significantly enhance the movement of goods between our industrial corridors and the Lagos seaports. When completed, these dry ports will work seamlessly with our airport, reducing transportation costs, expanding manufacturing capacity, boosting exports, and unlocking enormous opportunities in logistics and agro-processing. Furthermore, in just 6 years, we have constructed and rehabilitated over 1,500 kilometers of roads. This is a feat that is more than what has obtained 16 years before this administration. 16 years, meaning combined road construction in 16 years are short of 1,500 that we've done in 6 years. This is unprecedented, and this milestone has opened up rural communities, improved urban mobility, reduced transport and logistic costs, and enhanced trade, whilst boosting productivity across all sectors. I have a long list of routes here that have been included in my speech, but I'm not going to go into listing all the roads that we constructed in the last 6 years. However, I'll highlight some certain roads that are very key, one of which in the central includes the and this one is not only impactful to Ogun Central but also Ogun West. That's the Songo Ota Abeokuta Road. We all know what the condition of that road was when we assumed office. That road is one of the longest roads in this state. It's one of the most critical roads in this state. As a matter of fact, it's been acclaimed as probably the second or third busiest road in Nigeria. That road is 74 kilometers, and it is a federal road. The House, you guys, all what we went through to take over that road and begin the construction of that very important road. It is my hope that before the end of the first quarter of next year, that road will be completely reconstructed. Amongst other roads are also the 13.1 kilometer Ijano Alakpako Onimosa Road in Obafemi Owode. I think they have included some roads that are obscure, because these are not roads that most people normally talk about. Now, the Songo Alagbole Akute Road, of course, that is also a very important key road. As a matter of fact, it's as if there's a rain of roads in Ifo2 right now, because we are currently reconstructing most of the roads that are required in Ifo2. Ifo2 is one of our most important constituencies, being one of the closest to adjoining Lagos State. And of course, the Alagbole Ajuwon Road, Akute Ajuwon Road, Akinjide Kuka Market Road, Adawo Road in Odeda, Tekono Road in Wasemi, Kila Alagbagba Road in Odeda, and so on and so forth in Ogun Central District. In the west, we have the Agoshasha Road in Pokia, the Ojaodon Road, Ojaodon, Robi Ebute, Igboro Road in Yewa North, the Oke Rinja Road, of course, in Yewa South, and of course the Ilaro Wode Road, which we had previously constructed in Ogun East. Our first construction was the Ekwe-Ijebode Road, a world-class expressway that we have actually tolled. And so many other roads in Ijebu-Ode, in Odogbodu, in Ogun Waterside. We are constructing the 14-kilometer Mamu-Aba Kpanu Road, in Ijebu North, Remo North, Ikene. There's no need for me to go through this drop-down list of roads. It will take us the whole afternoon. In the health sector, we have constructed and renovated about 140 primary healthcare centers. And I recall when I assumed office, very few, only a handful of health centers were actually truly functional. Today we have about 140 PHCs reconstructed. Not only reconstructed, they are equipped with solar-powered energy systems, and we're implementing the electronic medical records system, EMR, that has helped us in strengthening our healthcare delivery across the state, because we're implementing the hub and spoke approach, where you go to the primary healthcare center, and from there they refer you to the secondary, and from secondary they fight with tertiary. The expansion of the Ogun State Health Insurance Scheme has not only taken off successfully, but has increased the enrollment of over 70,000 citizens. This was an insurance program that before was considered impossible because there was no trust between our citizens and government. Today we have over 70,000 citizens enrolled in this program. This, no doubt, is reducing out-of-pocket medical expenses and improving access to quality care, an achievement that continues to ease the financial burden of healthcare for thousands of households. As part of administration's public-private partnership initiatives, which is aimed at fast-tracking strategic projects, I'm pleased to announce that the uncompleted 250-bed specialist hospital in Okemoson, Abeokuta, now rebranded as the Ogun State Medical Center of Excellence, is nearing completion. It has been concessioned in line with the PP laws to Health Management Services Company to ensure effective management, sustainable operations, and long-term value. This center will deliver world-class healthcare, serve as a premier referral hub, support cutting-edge medical research and training, and create substantial employment opportunities. Once operational, it will become the first port of call for all, positioning Ogun State as a destination for medical tourism. The first phase of our proposed 34 megawatt power plant project at Onijomojogon is now completed. I didn't hear people clapping. Thank you. Thank you. We're now completing the distribution from the power plant to the rest of Abeokuta. Upon commissioning, this power plant will deliver uninterrupted power supply to residents and businesses within the surrounding corridors, particularly Abeokuta North, Abeokuta South, and Eweruku local governments, significantly boosting productivity and improving quality of life. Complementing these efforts, we have continued to install and energize new transformers across various parts of the state to strengthen distribution of reliable electricity and further uplift the living standards of our people. Our robust housing investment continues to meet the rising demand for affordable quality homes while driving slum regeneration and sustainable urban development across our dear state. Having delivered more housing units than all previous administrations combined, we remain firmly on track to complete over 10,000 affordable homes by the end of this administration. We have completed the 36-unit Ulumo residential court apartment in Ibara, Abeokuta. The affordable units at Prince Court, Kobakwe, the GRA urban regeneration project with over 200 plan units is almost completion, and several other landmark projects testify to the strength of our housing drive. Prior to our intervention in Ibara, GRA, it had deteriorated into an eyesore and had been overtaken by illegal occupants. Of course, today we are completing a first phase 100 housing unit scheme at the President Mohamed Buhari estate, which had one building when we assumed office. As a matter of fact, we had nearly lost that estate to others. We had to wrestle it out of the courts through an out-of-court settlement. Our regeneration efforts reflect a broader commitment to restore dignity, order, and structure to our state capital. We have ongoing projects in other parts of the state. We have the Building and Future Together apartment in Warewa and the 54-unit King's Court Phase 2, also in Okimeson. These will further elevate urban living standards and promote sustainable community development across the state. To enhance the safety of lives and property, we have recruited and equipped about 1,600 Amotekun operatives. To date, we have 4,700 so-safe corps personnel and over 500 neighborhood watch operatives, bringing the total of our internal security workforce to about 6,725 officers. So Ogun State is ready for state police. We have further deployed advanced surveillance systems and strengthened interagency coordination. These measures continue to safeguard public peace and boost investor confidence that has earned us that recognition as one of the most or the most peaceful state in Nigeria. In recognizing the importance of micro and small businesses as vital engines of economic growth, we have, through our development partners, supported about 5,400 enterprises with grants ranging from 100 to 300,000 naira. These interventions are helping entrepreneurs expand their operations, boost productivity, adopt modern technologies, create jobs, and stimulate local economies across the entire state. Under our education and human capital development pillar, we are transforming the education landscape across the state. We have strengthened the Ogun State Education Management Information System, EMIS. This has yielded in more effective planning. We have rehabilitated science laboratories in selected public secondary schools, and we have fully renovated all 8 government technical colleges, thereby creating a modern, conducive, and future-ready learning environment for our pupils. During the year, Ogun State consolidated its position as a national leader in skills development by becoming the first state in Nigeria to institutionalize the Nigerian Skills Qualifications Framework and the first state licensed by NBTE to operate a national skills qualifications awarding body. The Ogun State Skills Qualifications Board will now be awarding certificates as approved by NBTE. We also became the first state to establish a dedicated skills funding agency, the Ogun State Skills Fund, created by an executive order, and the pioneer of results contracting in skills financing, which has now been adopted by the federal government for national technical vocational education training programs. We strengthen our TVET programs ecosystem through the full revamping of our 8 government technical colleges under Ogtv by opening integrated job centers with work hubs, linking citizens to paid employment, and supporting the self-employed with tools and equipment. We also piloted for the first time in Nigeria the use of national occupational standards to train apprentices in the traditional apprenticeship system. Through our expanded programs, we have funded the training of about 14,000 residents in vocational and ICT skills, about 13,000 residents in foundational literacy, including digital and financial literacy, about 6,000 farmers and rural agricultors in business development skills, about 9,000 artisans in entrepreneurship and business skills. A tracer study confirms that more than 13,000 beneficiaries have recorded increased income as a direct result of these interventions. These achievements, alongside federal government's endorsements, underscore Ogun State's status as a model for TVET and workforce development in Nigeria. In the coming year, we will consolidate these gains and deepen reforms that expand jobs, productivity, and economic opportunities for our people. By investing simultaneously in infrastructure and human capital, we are laying a strong foundation for innovation, creativity, and sustainable development. We want to ensure that the future of Ogun State is driven by a skilled, confident, and forward-looking generation. Through the OG step, we have empowered over 39,000 individuals, including 1,400 science, technology, engineering, mathematics, STEM teachers, 100 quality assurance officers, 120 technical instructors, and over 4,000 vocational trainees. Furthermore, we have now 8 colleges with 22 laboratories, and 4 of them are now education resource centers. Through our superb interventions over the past 5 years, we have constructed or rehabilitated over 1,200 schools in the state. We have commenced another infrastructure upgrade scheme tagged Ogun Rehab, through which we will rapidly respond to natural disasters and infrastructure deficits in our schools this year. Meaning that when there's an act of God, there's thunder, there's lightning, there's storm, this Ogun Rehab will ensure that we immediately intervene and carry out the necessary reconstruction. In the coming year, we intend to intervene through Ogun Rehab in about 500 schools. In addition, a comprehensive renovation of our tertiary institutions is underway. I'm focusing on lecture theaters, laboratories, libraries, hostels, and other essential facilities for our tertiary institutions. These, of course, are guided by our stakeholder engagements, and our interventions are designed to deliver an enabling environment for more effective teaching, robust research, and meaningful learning. Our youth remain the backbone of Ogun State's future, and their empowerment continues to be one of the administration's highest priorities. To this end, we have implemented a range of programs designed to enhance skills, promote meaningful engagement, and improve overall well-being of our youths. In furtherance of our commitment to youth empowerment, we recently commissioned the Ogun Job Center and Work Hub at the Government Science and Technical College in Idiaba, Abeokuta, with similar centers replicated in the other 2 senatorial districts. These centers provide young people with access to employment opportunities, vocational training, and of course, career development resources. They complement the existing hubs in Djibouti and Ota, thereby creating a robust statewide supportive network for our dear youths. These centers will continue to serve as incubators for talent, innovation, and entrepreneurship, equipping our young people with the tools they need to become self-reliant, skilled, and productive citizens. Through these initiatives, we're not only addressing unemployment, but also nurturing a generation prepared to drive sustainable economic growth and social advancement across Ogun State. Ogun State has also distinguished itself as a premier destination for sporting excellence. We successfully hosted the year 2024 National Sports Festival. This has been widely acclaimed as one of, or probably the best organized in terms of the editions of the sports festival in history. The facilities, the wow opening ceremony and closing ceremonies, the athlete welfare, the logistics, the attendance. It is worthy to note that Ogun State, in its best ever recording-breaking performance at the sports festival, came second on the medal list with 93 gold, 65 silver, and 81 bronze medals. a total of 239 medals. Through the hosting of this festival, we have catalyzed a sports economy in the state. We have unprecedentedly hosted major continental sporting events, including the African Athletics Under-18 Championships, and we are now hosting the 2025 West African Para-Olympic Games called WAPARA 2025. This further reinforces our standing as a hub for top-tier sporting and economic activities. The MKO Sports Arena now ranks amongst Africa's finest sporting facilities. I believe this achievement reflects our deliberate commitment to youth development, athletic excellence, and global competitiveness. Beyond sports, these investments boost tourism, stimulate local businesses, create jobs, and definitely provide the opportunities for hospitality, hotels, transportation, trade, ultimately contributing to the broader economic growth of our state. I remember during the sports festival, there was a particular day that there was no single Adire available in Abeokuta. Adire markets were all sold out on one particular, in fact, almost for 2 days. Our restoration renovation of Ulumo Rock Tourist Center stands as a landmark achievement, marking the most transformative upgrade in that Ulumo history. This intervention has repositioned this iconic site into a dynamic hub for culture, recreation, and enterprise. Before the transformation, Ulumo Rock was generating a revenue of about 15 million naira per year. 15 million naira per year. In the first 1 month after that renovation, Ulumo Rock generated 100 million. 100 million. In 1 month. This has preserved its deep historical and cultural significance. What we have now done is we've now concessioned this to others so that we can sustain these rich visitor experiences, attract more tourists, and of course, by multiplier effect, energize local businesses, create jobs, and more revenue, and elevate Ogun State's stature. Through this, and of course through our Dishabi Festival, Oruno, Ojude Oba, Akeson, elevate Ogun State's stature as the foremost destination for tourism and heritage in Nigeria. We are currently rehabilitating storage and processing facilities across all our 8 farm settlements in the state. This is in our Greek sector, to ensure that our farmers have access to modern and functional infrastructure that significantly boosts productivity. In addition, we have deployed a wide range of contemporary agri equipment, including tractors, cassava planters, uprooters, tipping trailers, and grain planters to advance large-scale mechanized farming. These interventions are enhancing efficiency, increasing yields, and strengthening food security, while strategically positioning Ogun State's agri sector for sustainable growth and expanded economic impact. Through our Ogtv, that's the Ogun State Economic Transformation Project, and the support of our business enabling environment, we have issued over 18,000 COVs, 18,000 certificates of occupancies in the last 4.5 years. So we are averaging about 4,500 COVs per year, compared to what obtained before we assumed the office of about maybe 800 COVs per year. We have rehabilitated our 7 zonal e-planning offices and have finally successfully deployed the use of our land geographic information system for transparency and efficiency of our land management and administration. We have supported over 33,000 farmers. We have mechanized over 9,000 hectares of farmland. We have supplied over 90,000 units of agrochemicals. We have distributed over 20,000 bags of fertilizers. We have done over 200,000 bags of fish feed, over 78,000 bags of poultry feed, while over 290,000 tons of agri-produce were off-taken by large farms and manufacturers. You know, numbers don't lie. Furthermore, to strengthen food security, an infrastructure needs assessment of all our 8 farm settlements and estates have been completed. And we are now going to commence a massive comprehensive rehabilitation. At the Ogtv Farm Institute, a 100,000 capacity broiler facility with staff residencies has now been completed. 100,000 capacity broiler facilities in Ogtv. Because these are things that you ordinarily not be aware of. And this provides us an opportunity to inform you. Because when there's no information, there's misinformation. We have poultry pens at various stages of construction in 3 additional locations. We have a 5,000 bird per day processing plant being installed at the Ajegunle farm settlement. We're also rehabilitating warehouses and establishing fish and cassava processing facilities across all the settlements. We have facilitated the establishment of the new Federal Court of Appeal Ogun State Division in Abeokuta. This is a timely and significant development, particularly in light of our state's expanding economic profile and the corresponding increase in litigation. Until now, litigants and legal practitioners were compelled to travel to neighboring states to pursue appeals. This has been an inconvenience that often resulted in delays, higher costs, and unnecessary strain on the justice system. The creation of this new division will ease pressure on existing appellate courts, accelerate the administration of justice, and strengthen public confidence in judicial processes. Beyond this, it will enhance the ease of doing business by ensuring faster resolution of commercial disputes and attracting greater legal, commercial, and professional activities to Ogun State, further consolidating our stand as a center of judicial excellence. Now let me quickly do a review of the year 2025 budget implementation. The year 2025 budget, aptly titled Budget of Hope and Prosperity, was crafted as a framework to stimulate inclusive growth, reduce inequality, and enhance the overall quality of life for the good people of Ogun State. It represents a deliberate blend of prudent financial stewardship and ambitious visionary planning, ensuring that our resources are efficiently directed towards pressing priorities while advancing long-term development goals. Anchored on the principle of inclusive growth, the 2025 budget sought to expand opportunities for all. It sought to empower citizens across sectors and deploy targeted social interventions to address urgent needs. More than a financial document, it reflected our administration's resolve to restore hope, to deepen public confidence in governance, and propel our state towards sustainable progress. The budget struck a careful balance between fiscal discipline and effective service delivery, ensuring that every naira expended yielded measurable value. It addressed unemployment and poverty, supported transformative economic growth, and enhanced social well-being, while also committing to strategic investments that secure long-term prosperity. Mr. Speaker, honorable members and distinguished guests, let me highlight some key elements of that budget. Internally generated revenue was 314.82 billion. Expected inflows from statutory allocation, value-added tax, capital receipts and others was 739.73 billion. Total funding was 1,054.54 billion. Expenditure. Recurrent expenditure was 454.55 billion. Capital expenditure was 599.99 billion. Total expenditure 1,054 billion.54. As of 30th September 2025, we had achieved about 60% of our pro rata revenue target and about 53% of our pro rata expenditure target, whilst we are on course to achieve 70 to 75 budget performance by the end of the year. This performance underscores our fiscal discipline and positions to close the year very strongly. Recent economic developments. The global economy remains highly volatile, shaped by rising trade barriers, inflationary pressures, geopolitical tensions, and climate-related disruptions that affect energy systems, food supply chains, and international trade. The ongoing shift towards renewable energy, combined with fluctuating oil prices and extreme weather events such as droughts, floods, and heat waves, has intensified uncertainty and heightened food insecurity around the world. On the global governance front, Nigeria's recent removal from the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, which is the grey list, stands out as a major milestone in strengthening financial transparency, regulatory compliance, and anti-money laundering frameworks. This achievement signals to intentional investors that Nigeria is indeed committed to sound financial governance, thereby boosting confidence in the stability and integrity of the national economy. The impact of this development was reflected almost immediately. Nigeria's most recent Eurobond issuance was oversubscribed by more than 400%, a strong indication of renewed global investor trust in the country's economic management. Beyond attracting foreign investment, this milestone enhances Nigeria's credibility in international financial circles, supports macroeconomic stability, and provides a solid foundation for long-term sustainable growth. Within Nigeria, the domestic economy continues to evolve under sweeping fiscal, monetary, and trade reforms, which of course includes the removal of fuel subsidies, the liberalization of the exchange rate, and introduction of new tax measures set to commence in January 2026, such as the revised VAT sharing formula and income tax exemptions for low-income earners. Nigeria's recently rebased GDP highlights strong performance in emerging sectors such as technology, logistics, creative industries, and renewable energy. However, the country's relatively low tax to GDP ratio of 13.5% in 2024, with a projected increase to 18% by 2030, underscores the need to strengthen revenue mobilization, curb leakages, and reinforce long-term fiscal sustainability. Against this evolving national backdrop, Ogun State continues to demonstrate notable fiscal resilience, policy stability, and administrative leadership under my watch. Ogun remains one of the top 3 industrial states in Nigeria, of course with a sense of humility, and one of the largest contributors to non-oil revenue nationally. According to Budget Office of the Federation 2025 Fiscal Performance Report, Ogun State ranks among the top IGR generating states, reflecting a consistent improvement in fiscal transparency, economic reforms, and investor-friendly policies. The year 2026-2028 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework, MTEF, will intensify efforts to attract private sector participation, expand internally generated revenue, and consolidate Ogun State's position as Nigeria's foremost industrial and logistics hub. The 6 economic clusters in the state located in Remo, Ijebu-Ode, Magboro, Ado-Ota, Abeokuta, and Imeko, together with the free trade zones in Olokola, Igbesa, Remo, Kajola, will continue to stimulate industrial growth, deepen value chains, and create jobs across the state. These clusters have already attracted multinational manufacturers such as Coleman, Lafarge, Nestle, Fitson, Olam, and so on and so forth. Arise. Notably, the states recorded over $1 billion in private investment between the year 2021 and 2024. This is according to Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission. These initiatives have contributed significantly to Ogun State's strong fiscal performance. The Budget 2025 report confirms Ogun State as one of the few subnational economies with IGR consistently growing year on year, driven by strategic reforms in land administration, tax automation, digital revenue systems, and improved ease of doing business, reinforced by the state's ranking as one of the top 5 most investor attractive states in Nigeria according to NESG. This achievement underscores our economic resilience, consistency in policy implementation, and the growing appeal of Ogun State to both domestic and international investors. This is firmly positioning our state as a leading destination for business expansion, industrial development, and sustainable growth. Collectively, these measures reaffirm our unwavering commitment to inclusive, innovation-driven, and sustainable development, anchored on fiscal discipline, economic diversification, and the holistic welfare and well-being of our citizens. Now, let me go to the priorities of the year 2026 Appropriation Bill. Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Principal Officers, distinguished members of the Ogun State House of Assembly, I am indeed honored to present the year 2026 Appropriation Bill for your consideration and legislative approval. The strategic priorities and implementation roadmap of this administration, as clearly articulated in the year 2026-2028 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework, MTEF, remain firmly anchored on the 5 pillars of our shared development agenda. These pillars continue to guide our efforts to deliver inclusive growth, drive sustainable development, and improve the quality of life of our people. In strict adherence to the Fiscal Responsibility Law of year 2020 as amended, this Honorable House graciously approved the year 2026-2028 Medium-Term Fiscal Framework and the Medium-Term Budget Framework, NTBF. These approvals have provided the fiscal foundation required for broad-based stakeholder consultations, transparent budget preparation, and evidence-based allocation of resources. The Ogun State Fiscal Responsibility Law, modeled after national best practices, mandates prudent spending, debt sustainability, and realistic forecasting, all which have guided the formulation of this appropriation bill. As part of our commitment to inclusive and participatory governance, we expanded citizen engagement through digital feedback platforms, stakeholder working groups, and a series of town hall meetings held across the 4 divisions of the state. These engagements recorded over 5,000 direct participants and aggregated input from community leaders, private sector actors, labor unions, women groups, youth associations, civil society organizations, and professional bodies. The insights have been integrated into the 2026 budget, ensuring that its priorities reflect the expectations and developmental aspirations of our people. This approach aligns with global best practices, including OECD principles on open budgeting and Nigeria's Open Government Partnership (OGP) commitments, under which states are encouraged to expand civic participation in budget processes. In the year 2026 fiscal year, we will continue to pay priority attention to the following areas. 1. Completion of ongoing projects across the Ishaya development pillars. 2. Projects with strong revenue generating potentials. 3. Projects that enhance employment generation. 4. Projects consistent with priorities articulated in the state's economic development plan and strategy. 5. Projects that align with the medium-term national development plan. 6. Projects that align with Mr. President's renewed hope agenda. Together, these priorities reinforce our commitment to building a more prosperous, competitive, and inclusive Ogun State, one where public resources are deployed efficiently and transparently for the collective good. Now, let me share with you some supporting parameters and fiscal assumptions for the year 2026 appropriation bill. The 2026-2028 medium-term fiscal framework sets out the parameters for the 2026 appropriation bill. These include both national and state macroeconomic indicators. The national indicators. The 3 tiers of government largely depend on federation accounts allocations derived mainly from crude oil sales and value-added tax. The federal government's key parameters and fiscal assumptions are: 1. The benchmark for oil prices is $76.20 US per barrel. The daily oil production estimate with condensate is about 2.1 million barrels per day. The exchange rate is $1,400 US to the naira. The projected GDP growth rate is 4.4% and the inflation rate at 14.21%. Now the state indicators. The state government's parameters and fiscal assumptions are: 1. Estimated nominal GDP of 18.79 trillion, which is rebased. Projected GDP growth rate at 4.4% and inflation rate at about 14.1%. Now the state government's funding estimates. We shall continue to improve our medium-term revenue strategy, MTRS, to drive the implementation of the medium-term expenditure framework. The total funding estimate is at 1,696,997,993,125 naira and 44 kobo. That's about 1.7 or 1.7 trillion for the year 2026. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of this House, Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Ogun State has come a long way. When I assumed office, the budget of this state was about 350 billion, at about 45% budget performance. Last year's budget was 1,054 billion. We end up at about 70-75% budget performance. 2026 budget is almost 1.7 trillion. 1.7 trillion. The revenue composition includes an estimated 250 billion from the Ogun State Internal Revenue Service, OGRS. About 260 billion from other ministries, departments, and agencies, totaling about 510 billion. That's in Nigeria. Funding from the federal government, FAC revenue, including statutory allocations, value-added tax, and other shared revenues, is projected at about 554.81 billion. Capital receipts are estimated at about 518.9 billion, comprising internal and external loans as well as grants. Our internally generated revenue capacity remains one of the most robust amongst national sub-entities in Nigeria, proudly. We continue to leverage our strategic position as a trade corridor, drawing on insight from the rebased GDP, and we continue to capitalize on our proximity to Lagos State. Our focus is to deepen revenue transparency, expand our tax base, and strengthen fiscal sustainability without placing additional burdens on our residents. Now let me go to the budget theme and projected 2026 programs. The year 2026 budget proposals address challenges facing our state and also outline sustainable strategies to overcome them. The 2026 expenditure policy aligns with the 2018 to 2030 state development plan and also our economic development strategy focusing on fiscal sustainability, human development, food security, a business-friendly environment, energy sufficiency, improved transport infrastructure, and an SME-driven industrialization. The year 2026 appropriation bill, our 7th budget, is titled the Budget of Sustainable Legacy. It reflects a deliberate commitment to preserving, deepening, and expanding the transformative foundations already laid over the last 6 years. It is a financial plan anchored on continuity, consolidation, and long-term impact, ensuring that the progress achieved evolves into lasting benefits for current and future generations. A total expenditure of 1,668,997,993,124 naira and 44 kobo is proposed for the year 2026 fiscal year, representing a 63% growth over the year 2025 budget. This proposed expenditure comprises of 624.76 billion, 37% as recurrent expenditure, and 1,044 billion, 63% as capital expenditure, with following key components: personnel costs 167.92 billion, consolidated revenue charges 65.8 billion, public debt charges 99.98 billion, overhead costs 291.06 billion, capital expenditure 1,044 billion. Highlights of major events and programs planned. We're planning to host a year 2026 Gateway Afrobeat and Drums Festival. I'm waiting for claps. I'm sure, as by Speaker, Oladipo is very happy to hear that. Because of COVID, we had to suspend the drum festival in year 2020 and 21. And then, of course, other events overtook it. But we are determined to resuscitate that. For those that may not have realized, our sports festival was themed drums. And it was a subtle way of introducing and announcing our drums festival in 2026. So you notice that the stage were actually drums, because I believe that the oldest drum in Nigeria is right here in Abeokuta. Yes. So we are going to be hosting to the world to the first ever Afrobeat and Drums Festival. This will showcase our very rich cultural heritage as usual. We know it will engage our youths, it will attract visitors, it will support local enterprises, it will create jobs, it will stimulate the entire economy. It will further strengthen Ogun State's position as a leading hub for African rhythm, creativity, and cultural innovation. Ogun State know they take last. As Ogun State reaches and approaches its 50th anniversary, we stand at a defining moment, one that calls on us to reflect on our remarkable journey. An opportunity to honor our heritage and appreciate the contributions of past and present generations who have shaped our progress. This Golden Jubilee presents a unique opportunity to celebrate how far we have come while envisioning the brighter future that lies ahead. The Golden Jubilee will inspire unity, inspire pride, and a renewed sense of belonging amongst our citizens at home and in the diaspora. Through cultural showcases, educational programs, community-driven initiatives, the anniversary will connect generations, strengthen communal bonds, and encourage active participation in building a more prosperous, inclusive, vibrant Ogun State for many years to come. Highlights of key capital projects that are embedded in the year 2026 budget. We'll be constructing at least another 450 kilometers of urban and rural roads across the state. This will mean that by the time this addition is rounding up, we would have constructed about 2,000 kilometers of highway. No doubt we cannot reconstruct every road in Ogun State. But like I promised when I assumed office, we will leave Ogun State much better than we met it. We will be investing in our Ogun State Light Up project, which of course includes generation of power, distribution of power, and transmission of power. The idea is to ensure that our capital and major cities enjoy 24 hours uninterrupted power supply. We'll be constructing and rehabilitating more classrooms and more technical workshops across the state for our students. Because we're the education capital of Nigeria. We have more schools, more universities, more secondary schools than any other state in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, than some states combined. We'll be constructing more agro-processing facilities and agricultural transformation centers. So we have processing facilities and what they call ATCs, agric transformation centers across the state. We also will be continue our construction of primary healthcare centers, as well as secondary healthcare facilities across the state as well. We will be purchasing more laboratory and medical equipment for the Olabisi Onabanjo University Hospital. We are going to be constructing at least another additional 3,000 to 4,000 affordable housing units across the state, so that we can ensure that we surpass our targeted goal of 10,000 affordable housing units. We will be constructing the Gateway International Conference, Convention, and Exhibition Center with an adjoining 250-bedroom hotel. This will be a world-class convention, conference, and exhibition center where there will be nothing like that in Nigeria. So conferences and conventions that are already holding here will now be able to host more of both local and international conferences. We'll also be constructing a state pavilion. What's a state pavilion? We are going to now discourage any activity that's not sporting activities to hold in our stadium. So we'll have a state pavilion where we can have, political rallies and, other events that we normally host in the stadium, because we do not want to destroy or reduce the integrity of that stadium. We will be upgrading the Shagamu, Ilaro, and Ijebu-Ode stadiums, just like we've done with MKO. Of course, we're going to be commencing the construction of the Ogun State Division of the Federal Court of Appeal through a grant from the state. We'll be constructing the Revenue House for the Ogun State Internal Revenue Service. We'll be constructing a 2,500 capacity befitting banquet hall for Ogun State. Befitting banquet hall. So that, Ogun State, we can't go and be renting marquee to host events. We must have a befitting banquet hall right here in Abeokuta. We'll be upgrading the Ogun State Governor's Lodge in Abuja, and also, of course, reconstructing the government house in Abeokuta. Through public-private sector partnership, and let me announce this, we will be constructing the Olokola deep sea port. So this will be the final link in that chain, that are multi-modal transport chain, where we have road, rail, air, and water transportation. We also, through public-private sector partnership, we are going to also be investing in the establishment of the biggest textile processing plant in the world, tagged the Renewed Hope Textile Processing Plant, that will be sited in our Aerotropolis in the airport. Now, our key allocations in the year 2026 budget. Number one, the education sector. The proposal is 275.4 billion, which amounts to 17% of the budget. Health, 210.59 billion, which amounts to 13% of our budget. Housing and community development, 166.96 billion, which amounts to 10% of the budget. Agriculture and industry, 40.54 billion, which amounts to about 2% of the budget. Infrastructure, 526.15 billion, which amounts to 32% of the budget. Recreation, culture and religion, 42.24 billion, which amounts to about 3% of the budget. Social protection, 72.82 billion, which amounts to 4% of the budget. General public service and executive organ, 55.65 billion, which amounts to about 3% of the budget. General public service, financial and fiscal affairs, 52.3 billion, which amounts to 3%. General public service and general personnel service, 3.86 billion, which amounts to 0.2%. Public order and safety, 36 billion, which amounts to 2%.